Right, so Counter Sapphire recently was looking at my old counterfeit video. I'm talking about counterfeits, about fakes, proxies, that sort of thing. And he asked me to revise it, asked me to update it. So here I go, I'm updating it. Let's start with the Lake of the Dead. Can you tell which one is the counterfeit? The reason I have a counterfeit is a few years ago, probably 10 years ago, I bought an original Lake of the Dead for Hirobi. When it got up to 150 euros during COVID, during the helicopter money and the price jumps, I sold it. Sold it for 150 euro, and I think I originally paid 20, maybe 30 for it. So I made a good, tidy little profit. But I missed the card. I loved the art. So when I was ordering some counterfeits from my vintage decks, I went ahead and ordered one. And then recently, past year or so, after the helicopter money from COVID stopped coming, the price dropped. So I bought an original Lake of the Dead for Hirobi again. But I'm keeping the counterfeit just because there's no reason. Nobody wants it. There's no way to get rid of it other than just giving it to somebody and dumping it on them. And I've got a page of counterfeit cards I have for the art, Library of Alexandria, All Hallows Eve, and they all look, most of them look terrible. Most of them look like crap because they just don't care about the getting it perfect. In one way they can't. In one way they cannot get it perfect. Oh, by the way, this is the counterfeit one. It might be hard for you to tell looking at them, but the original has more green in the art, and the border is a bit more, oh, how do I describe it? A bit more stone colored. Like I said, the front of this Lake of the Dead, compared to a lot of the counterfeits I've seen, and I've seen a good number of them, a mass amount, is pretty damn good. The illustration, Pete Inventors, the copyright, Wizards of the Coast, that's pretty close. And again, I'm not looking at it with a jeweler's loupe. I'm not looking at the fine details, because I don't have to. So the fronts are pretty accurate. And then when you flip it over, the back is terrible. I'm not sure if you can see it clearly. But if you look at the one on the right, which is the counterfeit, the magic is... Man, I'm really blowing this up, and it's so hard to tell. Okay, here we go. Here we go. See how dark this is? That's not normal. That's not accurate. That's one way to tell. Another way is the playwear and the cut. If you can see it, so, and Wizards with their current cheaper production processes, the cards are not being cut as well. They're not sharpening the blades as often. But if you can see here, let me just try to tilt it. This has a tiny little curve all the way around, where it looks like the very edge of the card was just rolled by a minuscule amount. The original does not have that. It was cut perfectly. It was cut in Belgium at Catamundi. The brown is also different. In the counterfeit, it's got kind of a hash pattern, kind of a pattern of a loosely woven blanket, a loosely woven tea towel. The original, it's more uniform. The brown is darker. It doesn't have any of that artifact in it. You can see how the counterfeit looks lighter. You can probably see the hashing that I'm referring to. But like I said about the financial considerations, so they don't care about getting it perfect, the counterfeiters, because there's no financial incentive to do so. They sell these for €2 each, the counterfeits, and that's sufficient for them to get their business, to make their money. For them to put the effort into making it perfect, it would be so time-consuming and so costly that even for these 50, 70 euro cards with a limited market, it's not really worth their time. Now, a Black Lotus, a Mox, something like that, that would be worth their time, but those cards, they get so much scrutiny when they're sold, so much care. People whip out jeweler's loops and they look at every detail and they look at the edge exactly, because they're spending thousands of euros on the premier cards of the game. So those cards, if they were counterfeit, would have to be so perfect as to be at that point indistinguishable from the original, and therefore they would de facto be magic cards. They would have to be so exactingly precise, and there could be no deviation whatsoever, that they would become magic cards. They would have to pass something like somebody like Rudy. So if Rudy, Alpha Investments, if he were to get a fake and it passed his testing, his inspection, then for all intents and purposes it's an authentic magic card that was recently reprinted. It would just be accepted. There'd be no way to tell. No way at all. Another way to look at it is the light test. So you can see here, maybe you can't see here, maybe you need to turn off the light. So you just whip out your mobile phone and you can see this, the fake. So there we go. There's a little bit of, you can't even see the light on here. Well, you can see a bit of it. See how it's not really coming through? It's because of the glue they use. These are black core, they call it black core counterfeits. Yeah, there you can see the light. As opposed to the authentic one, you get the light through and it's got a bit of a blue effect. Try to get that so it's visible. So the light test is pretty accurate. And the blue is from the glue that they use to stick the front and the back together. So apparently they printed the back, probably still do. They print the back separately, and then they print the front, and then they glue together with this fine layer of glue that has a blue tint. So that's why if you were to rip in half an authentic magic card, you see the blue layer. And here, this black core is not letting the light through. Years ago there was a test. It's fallen out of favor. It's fallen out of favor. Nobody really does it anymore. It's called the bend test. Basically you take the card and you touch the top edge to the bottom edge and you bend it together. The problem is, after time, it will crease the card and it will destroy the card. So nobody really does that test anymore because it's got a finite amount of life cycles and it will destroy the card, and it's unnecessary. The light test is more accepted now, what I just did with my mobile phone. But overall, like I said, the most important thing to do is just know the cards. So let's say you're going to, you've got some deal, you're going to buy, oh I don't know, a Guy's Cradle. What you need to do is get an Urza Saga card. Get a card from the same era. It doesn't have to be from the same set, but that is the best. Get a card from the same, block or two before, block or two after, ideally from the same set, and just put them side by side. Just look at them. And here, so this Magic the Gathering, the printing isn't as crisp and clear. I'm not sure if that's coming through. It's a darker blue. This is a lighter blue. And keep in mind that from Alpha up through, I'd say about Mirrodin, the backs looked a little bit different. They had, I'm not sure how to describe it. Let me take a new card and see if I can show this. So this is a hole breacher. This is one of vintage decks. Let me see if I can, so let me take it out of the perfect fit. So here's the hole breacher, and here is the original Lake of the Dead, and you can see there's a bit more orange in the brown. It looks a little bit different. Even though the backs need to be indistinguishable from each other throughout the entire 30-year history of the game, that was impossible. As time went on, different inks, different printing companies, different printing presses, there were slight deviations. But they're so small that it's still within the realm of the same. As opposed to the counterfeit, which again, the orange has that mottled whiteness is much more distinct. The Magic the Gathering is darker. It's not as crisply printed. This again, it's difficult to describe. I don't have the precise terminology, but I hope this is coming through as to how to look for counterfeits, look for fakes, not get ripped off. Side by side, take a card from the same era and look at them, feel them. Like I said, the counterfeit feels a bit more waxy, which obviously I can't really convey on camera. But let's look at another one. Let's look at, so yeah, I'll just grab some counterfeits so you can kind of see. This is my vintage deck. This is vintage Arcblade. No, what was I calling this? Tinker Arcs, and I forget what I was calling this. I was trying to figure out a cute little name for it, something that's easy to remember. I didn't really come up with it, so I just, basically the deck is red-blue. It started as Delver. Delver I never really liked. It never held up against my other vintage decks. So then I started playing with Sprite Dragon. Sprite Dragon, play a bunch of non-creature spells. It gets bigger, smash opponent. That really wasn't satisfactory either. So I went back to the drawing board, and I found a version that has green in it for Oko. So the deck now has 2 Oko Thief of Crowns, and then I decided to put in a Blightsteel Colossus and a Tinker. So the idea of the deck is to control the game, get going, and cast Tinker for Blightsteel Colossus. And yes, there are not many native artifacts in the deck. There are 3 Moxes, all counterfeit. I do not own a real Mox. Nope. They just cost way too damn much. Black Lotus, but Black Lotus I'm probably going to sacrifice pretty damn quickly in order to use the mana. And Pithing Needle. So natively I have effectively 4 artifacts. So I don't have a whole lot to tinker with Blightsteel Colossus. But Oko gets me past that by, I can create a food token, which is an artifact, and Dak Faden. I hate this text box, but I love the art. So this is the Dak Faden I'm using. Anyway, he can steal somebody's artifact, and then I can tinker with that. I can sacrifice that artifact and tinker. Anyway, I'm getting way off topic. So here are 3 examples of counterfeits. The Black Lotus, I can tell right away it's not authentic. It's too dark around the edge. It's in too perfect a condition. something like this, that's the other thing to look at, is playware. These cards, if you came across an unlimited Black Lotus, with very few exceptions, I can guarantee it's been played and it will show playware. This card is perfect. It's gem mint. The cost of a gem mint Black Lotus from Limited, I don't even know what it would be nowadays. I don't even want to pretend to guess, but it's well over 10,000 euros, I would imagine. So if somebody's going to spend 10,000 euros on a card, you can bet they're going to scrutinize every aspect of the card. They're going to immediately be suspicious of it being perfect. How is this perfect? How did you get this card? Where did you acquire it? So that's the other thing. Let's say the counterfeiters did get the back perfect. They got the front perfect. They essentially, in 2024, printed new Black Lotuses. Let's say they did that. People would immediately be suspicious of it being in such perfect condition. So they would have to scuff it. And then that also creates issues. How do you scuff it? How do you make it so it looks like it's normal playware and not artificial? And again, these are the sort of things that people are going to think of when they're looking at these cards. So let me pull out. I've got Animar here because I know he has his 3 dual lands. And let's look at dual land to dual land. And again, I've not seen any chatter on Reddit lately about people getting scared about fakes, people getting scared about proxies, about perfect counterfeits. That happens so often. And even Rudy, one time somebody sent him a German Brea, German, and they claimed it was counterfeit. Are you kidding me? The counterfeiters are not printing Brea, let alone German. There's no market effectively for Brea, and if you've got a card with no real market, why the hell would you limit it further and print it in German when you are just pumping out these counterfeits so people can build like my vintage deck and play with them without spending the money, the real money they cost? Obviously I can't enter a tournament with this, but I just play with my mates. Maybe I should have grabbed the Taiga. Actually, that's a good idea. So, Rudy had this German Brea, and he's talking about how perfect it is, how it looks exact. He can't believe it. And it's because somebody was screwing with him. Somebody was lying to him, sent him a real card and claimed it was fake just to fuck with Rudy. That's what happens sometimes when you get big. People just screw with you. So anyway, I know John, there it is. So John has a Taiga. Now let's look at another authentic versus fake. So right off, what's funny about this is the art on the counterfeit Taiga actually looks better than the art on the revised. It's annoying to me, but it's darker, the image is crisper, it has more color saturation. It looks better, doesn't it? This is the counterfeit. Doesn't that look better than this? But it is what it is. So looking at the front, that's suspicious that it's so saturated when it's supposed to be revised. Oddly enough though, the art is more saturated, but the line, the border is less saturated. This is a darker yellow, this is a light yellow. So they just make all these mistakes, but they don't care. Like I said, they don't care. I bought these for €2 a piece, ordered them from China. And they're perfectly happy with that. It probably cost them, I mean, they've got in a big industrial press somewhere, and they're pumping these out. And as long as they're making €2 each, that's a profit to them. They don't care. There's no reason to make them perfect. So I'm not scared about perfect counterfeits entering the market, because they're not going to do it for small cards. They're not going to do it for cards that have limited financial value. They would do it for cards that receive a lot of scrutiny. Cards that do have a lot of financial value, like dual lands. But then they have to be perfect. So they become de facto magic cards, just printed recently. But they have to look exactly like the old ones. So I have no fear. And usually when people get scammed, it's usually because they didn't pull the card out of the sleeve. They didn't look at it. They just see, oh wow, Taiga. Oh, how much is it? €300. Oh, here you go. Oh, I've got a Taiga. And then they get home and they look at it and they're like, man, I got ripped off. That's because you got greedy and you didn't look at it. Or the seller, using social engineering and pretending to be your buddy, kind of push things faster, push the sale faster than you should have allowed him to do. Perhaps he pulled a couple cards out that he knew were real, showed them to you, and they're like, okay, so everything must be real. Nope. Nope. Even, I believe Magic Historian got scammed this way, or maybe Moxman. One of the bigger guys, somebody selling a big modern collection, and it was a good deal, and some guy showed up, claimed that he's selling it for his brother. His brother couldn't be here. He doesn't know anything about the cards, which is a flag, because if they're brothers, the brother will probably know something about the cards just by being around the other guy. Made the sale, got up home, started unsleeving the cards, realizing he bought a ton of fakes. So let's keep going with this. So if you can see this, the original Taiga, and what I do with my revised cards is I take a white eraser, just a white artist eraser, and I gently run it on the edge, and it takes off most of the dirt, but it doesn't take all of it. There's a little bit of dirt here, some dirt on that corner that I couldn't get off. So there's scratches. Can you see the scratch in the text box? But the counterfeit is perfect. The counterfeit, because it came to me from China.
That's fake.
Yep, this is fake, yep. I got it from China.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, how exactly did I get to know that that's fake?
What?
How exactly do you recognize that exactly as fake?
Well, that's what I'm explaining. So look at the back. You see how dark this is?
Yeah.
So that's the original printing. This is lighter. This magic is more distinct. The printing is higher quality. It's crisper. This is not as crisp. Plus, look at all the playware.
What's a playware?
See the edge?
Yeah.
See these?
Yeah.
Where it's worn down?
Mm-hmm.
That's from people shuffling and playing on a table that isn't clean, and the back is all scratched up. And this one, not only is the back perfect, but the edge has, it looks like it's rolled in a bit.
What does it mean rolled in?
Look at the edge.
Yeah.
You see how this one is flat. The edge is perfectly flat.
Mm-hmm.
You see this one, how the edge here,
Yeah.
how it looks like right here in the light,
Yeah.
how it's not perfectly flat.
No, and also this line is a little purple.
Yep, and
And
here
this
it's
one is
blue.
blue.
Yeah.
Purple is my favorite color.
So,
I like this card more because it has my favorite color.
excuse me.
Which
So
it really does.
So let's look at another.
Just pizza is ready.
Okay, I'll be in a minute.
Okay.
So let's look at.
All kinds of cards. Oh, look, a lion.
Yep, let's look at this tropical island.
Okay.
Which I think this is the worst of the dual lands I have. I think this is the most beat up. Yeah, this one's bad condition.
What the hell?
Look at that.
What did you do with it?
I bought it this way. I bought it this
What?
way,
For
Yeah,
how much?
for a good deal, but it's in played shitty condition.
And
So maybe that's not the.
to me, it looks like this island where Robinson was.
Yeah, I should get the volcanic island. This one is not going to be, because this is obviously real. It's obviously real because it's in such bad condition.
But also Robinson Crusoe, he did live on an island with a volcano.
Yeah?
He did. And it exploded.
Did it?
Yeah. And it flooded.
But that was only in the book. They didn't have that in the film.
No, because the book is better.
Well, yeah. The books are always better. That's why we're trying to push you to read.
Yeah, sure.
Who the hell's my volcanic island?
I don't know.
Did you eat it?
Maybe.
You ate my volcanic island?
Maybe. If I did, then I'd probably put it on my pizza.
Volcanic island pizza?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Sounds good, doesn't it?
Yep. Okay, it's white border,
White border, okay.
so it should be easy to find.
There's a white border.
It's not a volcanic island though. I am looking for a specific card so I can complete this video so I can post it so people can enjoy it and then I can go eat. There it is. There's a volcanic island.
Oh yeah. It's the same like this one, I mean the box.
Yeah, this one I think is in better condition.
Yeah, me too.
So, yeah, this volcanic island, it's from the front is near mint. The back is not. But it's got that but it's got that playware. So this is in good condition. It's got that playware. The counterfeit has no playware. The back is different. Let's look at the Lakes of the Dead again.
Lakes of the Dead?
Yeah.
Oof.
So the Magic the Gathering is not as crisp and sharp as this counterfeit taiga. But it's obvious that it's counterfeit. So I'm not sure where to go from here, other than to get a thumbnail for the thumbnail. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your thoughts on. Are you afraid of counterfeits? Do you think they're going to widely enter the market and wreck it? Or do you agree with me that if they do, there'll be cards of such value and printed so perfectly that they'll pass somebody like Rudy? What?
Just Robinson, he didn't live on an island with just a volcano and a little piece of forest. The island was much bigger.
Well, yeah, of course
and there
not.
was more than one mountain.
Well, yeah, he lived on a big island.
Yeah, it was huge.
Mm-hmm.
And there were more than him. Well, there were more people than he thought.
Yeah, well, a lot of them were cannibals.
What's that?
They
Man-eaters?
ate each other.
Yeah, man-eaters.
Yep.
I wonder why would anybody eat each other?
Well, some people do it because they're hungry and they have no food other than their friends. Some people do it because they think that it gives them power, that it gives them strength for quasi-religious reasons, pagan reasons. People do things for crazy reasons sometimes.
Okay. Well, because a lot of people are crazy and dumb in the brain.
Yeah, well, yeah. And you'll meet more of them as you grow up, so you'll have to be careful of them.
Yeah, and you said that I will also meet like a lot of people like Father Stone. Remember how he's like that? How he's like, no, I'm fine.
Yeah, you'll meet some people like Father Stone.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway,
Father
let me get
Stone
this
is
posted.
funny.
So let me know in the comments below what you think of this, if there's any aspect you want me to revise and cover in more detail.